Well, I think, there's a lot of people in the prayer movement these days, in the missions movement. Obviously, we're here at the U.S. Center for World Missions, and many people are trying to go many different places in the world and reach them with the gospel of the kingdom. And I think it's incredibly important. The missions, both that and the prayer movement that's gone on with IHOP and PIHOP and all the different organizations. And I think, what does the warfare worldview have to do with those type of movements? I think it's very critical. And I think it's critical for this reason. And when you have the perspective that God is the one who's, the blueprint theology worldview, that God is the one who's ordaining sickness or ordaining disasters or ordaining tsunamis or all these terrible things that can come. When you have that idea that God's causing everything that happens and believe that God's in total control and everything that happens is coming through His divine providence to your life, well, it becomes very difficult to pray for anything. It becomes very difficult to say, okay, I'm going to pray that this happens. Well, if it's all happening according to God's purpose anyway, then, why do you pray? What is it going to change? And I remember talking to a friend of mine a while ago who was a Calvinist and a strict Reformed theologian, and I asked him, why would you pray? What motivation? If you believe everything's set in stone, it's all going to happen the way it's already destined to happen anyway. He said, out of obedience. I go, really? Out of obedience? And he goes, yes, out of obedience. His words to me were, I do not believe that the prayers I'm praying are going to change anything. I'm only praying them out of strict obedience to what the Scripture says to do. I believe everything's going to happen exactly how it's already planned by God to happen. That just blew my mind when he said that. I just felt like, wow, there's no room for any relationship there. How do you have any relationship where where I'm a robot? Every decision I make is a robot. It's all pre-planned. Every prayer I pray, pre-planned. Everything I do makes no difference. It's going to happen the way it's already been designed to happen. I don't know. That makes me feel very passive. Like, what's the difference then? And I think that's what happens for most people. And it spreads to other things. When you think about that, then it's like, well, why am I risking my life to go to some country or some area in the middle of India where it's closed to the gospel, or North Korea or in the Middle East somewhere? I'm risking my life to go spread the gospel and take a message that God's already got it all planned out anyway, what's going to happen to those people, whether they become saved or whether they're not saved, whether they go to hell. It's all in the blueprint. So why risk my life? Why take my kids? Why put my kids through that? I think these are serious questions. I think you end up becoming like, just why do anything, really? And so I think and I heard Greg Boyd say this, and I thought it was an amazing statement. He said, when I finally understood the warfare worldview and how much difference every action I take makes, every prayer I make makes, he goes, suddenly I felt completely invigorated. I felt completely significant. I felt completely on purpose. I felt like, okay, now I know what I'm doing and I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm going to listen to my Father in heaven, and I'm going to partner with Him better as best I can, and I want to get better at doing it so I can destroy the works of the devil in every area that God's called me to do it in. Wow. What a shift. What a shift from this just passive resignation to a revolt against the kingdom of darkness, to absolute energy on why we want to bring in the kingdom of heaven to this world, to every tribe and every tongue and every nation. I think it's a radically important shift. And I think Ralph Winter saw this, in the last couple of decades of his life, and especially after Roberta died. He saw it. He saw, whoa, wait a minute. It's not just about getting the gospel out there. It's about bringing the redemption and the restoration in every area of life that the gospel calls us to do. And it's calling me, my Father's calling me to partner with him to make a difference. And I just challenge you to know that the warfare worldview, to understanding that you have a place on the wall, you have a place in the battle. Everything you do with your life is significant, incredibly significant. It's worth the risk. It's worth the time. You'll understand why the warfare worldview impacts missions and the prayer movement so radically.